All right, guys, we are back with Salud and Robert Gardner. I'm here with the H-Town Pilsner. This is me experimenting, and I've got to think about this. So I think my thought was I have a darker beer, which had a Marzen earlier. Now I have a Pilsner because I back off. So it's like you have a raucous party and then you back off something more stable. Um, I don't know if from a flavor perspective you should go in reverse, but for some reason this appealed to me, so that's what I decided to do. Let's check out St. Arnold on their website. It's saintarnold.com. You can check out any of their beers. It says that H-Town Pilsner represents the evolution of lager and Pilsner brewing at St. Arnold. Represents a character of Houston, balanced, complex, and welcoming. It's a classic bohemian style Pilsner. It is our ideal lager for our ideal city. Hops, sterling, and size. I have no idea what that means. So the yeast is the lager always referred to the kind of yeast anyway. In January of 2021, H-Town Pilsner, we wanted to develop a beer focused on our deep connection with and appreciation for the Houston community. Thus, we needed our can art to be very Houston. After several iterations, we settled on a colorful background pattern inspired by local art and symbolizing the diversity of Houston. The star icon is a symbol seen on the city seal and atop the San Jacinto Monument. Inside the portal, a low Texas sun sets over a stylized skyline, home sweet Houston. And again, this is saintarnold.com. You can check this out. And I do not specifically remember this beer, but I find a lot of Pilsners to be sort of in the same like flavor range. Like I can't find like a huge difference one to the other, maybe on occasion. But let's give this a crack open and then see how it is. If you want to pick up these pint glasses or any of the other accoutrements I use on my tastings, there's probably links down below. You can check that stuff out on Amazon. St. Arnold H-Town. And let's see, maybe you can see this a little bit closer. See the can. With the stylized skyline, the star, all that kind of good stuff. When I was in El Paso, the star is on the mountain there. And let's let it set for a second. I will say that Pilsners, lagers, generally are some of my more favorites at the moment. I love ales generally, but if you put a gun to my head and go, what to do in a lager, an ale, and a Pilsner, I'm like, I don't know. It's all beer to me, and mostly I like it all. It just depends on what I'm having it with. When I'm going for something lighter, crisper, typically Pilsners are really good with lots of different kinds of food. That's just how I take it. The Brooklyn review that I did, the Marzen lager, they're seasonal. They were listing like pretzels and sausages and other things you could have it with. But I really think that I think maybe because of Texas cuisine, tacos, barbecue, lighter beers with food, super great. It's got a wonderful golden amber color, light, crisp, refreshing looking, I admit. Let's have this smell test here. A little bit of citrus, almost like maybe orange, maybe lemon. Floral, hoppy, maybe a little bit of clover honey. I bring that up all the time. Clover honey is one of the more distinctive ones that I've had, by the way. Robust, citrusy, crisp, light, fragrance. It's carbonated. It pops. It's got a little more attitude than I would think of like for a Pilsner, but it's certainly less viscous than the Marzen. The Marzen is more from Brooklyn. The Brooklyn Marzen that I I interviewed the beer, yes. The Brooklyn Marzen that I reviewed is more viscous. It's thicker. It's more syrupy. This is much lighter. I think this is a great beer. Knowing it's from Houston, knowing a little bit of the background, a little bit of the information is always interesting. Gives me a little bit more of an idea of like, you know, if I had this and I didn't know where it was from and what, I'd say, yeah, it's a good beer, but I wouldn't think about Houston. Now, reading the stuff about the skyline and the information in St. Arnold, Painter Saint of Brewers, it's a little more evocative. It adds a little bit more information to what I'm having. It's not sweet. It's very balanced. The hops and the sweetness are in equilibrium. It's still crisp and refreshing with those citrusy notes. Um, it's kind of bright in its finish. Like it doesn't linger on my palate. It's got like this distinct ending in its crispness. It's great. Good beer. I think it was nice to review the Marzen from the Brooklyn Brewery in advance of this. I'll have to think more about that and why that is. I know that in my experience, you know, they say liquor before beer, you're in the clear, beer then liquor, never sicker. I have a tendency with tequila because I love Blancos. I did the tequila review first, then I did the beer reviews. That's very common for how I do things and how I drink in the evenings when I'm sitting down playing poker. Um, it seems to work well for some reason. And I think from a flavor profile perspective, I enjoyed going from a darker, more viscous, thick, malty, syrupy beer to something that like this that was lighter, crisp, refreshing. I'll be interested to try more Pilsners over time and see actually what else is out there in the marketplace. But this is actually much better than I remember. And I think also, again, it's like having a certain drink with certain kinds of foods where it like stands out. If you have good wine paired with your meal, it makes it pop a little bit, appreciate some of the nuances. I actually think that I appreciate the Pilsner just a bit more after having the Marzen. It's doing something to my palate where I feel like I can taste what's going on. But this is great. I would certainly buy this again. I think this would be a great beer if you want to have like a charcuterie board, the adult lunchable. If you wanted to have like burgers or something with friends and just like a backyard barbecue. Also knowing this is from Houston and Texas, I think it fits. I think this is great beer and I highly, highly recommend it. Again, you can check them out at saintarnold.com. And I look forward to doing more beer reviews of the St. Arnold Brewery. Thank you guys so much. And if you have any questions at all, you have beers or tequila, something you want me to review, just comment down below. I'll be happy to chat with you about that and see if I can pick up a bottle. Or if you want to send me a bottle, hey, I'll absolutely review it. You guys have a good one, and thank you for joining me on Salud with Robert Gardner.